Will sesame cheese if we add cultures and age it? To find out, I'm using the same brand of raw hulled sesame seeds as in our last Will Sesame Cheese episode, where we made deliciously nutty, fresh and bouncy bocconcini-style bites. But this time, I've listened to your comments to use helpful bacteria and age it like most of the other cheeses in this series. How will the flavors evolve, and will it be worth it? First, let's taste what we're working with.
Oh no, these ones are pretty bitter. These are more bitter than previous. I don't even want to use this. What do? I have 2 of these. These are from the same lot, so I don't expect these to be different actually. So I'm not going to open it. I'm just going to go ahead with this one. But because we had so little yield from our previous batch of black sesame, I'm going to use a whole kilogram. So I'm going to put 500 in here, fill it up with water, and then repeat.
For good luck, I'm going to give these a little shake. On my end. On your end, you could do a little like and subscribe. Meanwhile, these will go in the fridge to hydrate safely over the course of about 20 hours. The next day, the sesame are plumped up. Time to drain. There's always a few stragglers, so I'll pour some water back in, swish, and pour out again. Let's see if the taste has changed at all. I was gonna say it's more mild at first, but as you keep chewing, you get that distinct nutty sesame flavor and that bitterness at the end. Not too bitter, just kind of like a refreshing bitter. It's gonna take a few rounds in the blender to make our sesame milk. This is getting dangerous. I better start milking first. As with black sesame, because they've practically zero starch, and with their fiber being, how do I say, like, fluffy? I'll show you later anyways. White sesame milk is relatively easy to strain on the scale of plant-based milks. We have a lot of fluffy sesame pulp. You can still kind of see the broken shape of the seeds. This is full of fiber. I can also feel some oiliness left behind, and we can assume a small percentage of protein remains as well. Upon taste test, it tastes like nothing. But as we know from last time when we made that fluffy sweet loaf and tray of savory garlic rolls with the leftover black sesame pulp, the aroma will be enhanced upon toasting. Today, I don't have time to deal with this, so it's just going to stay in here for now, but later, I'll dry it out. Those crumbles can be used partially like breadcrumbs, and some of it will be turned into flour. Then it can be used similarly to coconut flour, adding bulk, fiber, and a little bit of a nutty aroma to baked goods. Keeping all that in mind, if you have suggestions on what to do with it, please leave them in the comments, and I might just make yours. Back to the milk. Looks like we have about 3 liters, not leaving a lot of room for error in the biggest pot I own. I'll set the heat to high and constantly stir to prevent solids from forming at the bottom, preventing stickage and burning. 36 degrees Celsius. Nothing is happening yet. Whoops, forgot to do a raw milk taste test. Can't be neglecting that. Bitter, herbal, ginseng, like a, I don't know, 3 out of 10 bitter. Oh, and there's that finish hint of nutty sesame flavor. As it heats up, I expect changes, as we've done this 4 other times on the channel. Sesame is naturally high in calcium, which may be why the milk self-coagulates when it's hot enough. But the texture of the curds have been different each time. First using no-name brand seeds, they were big, billowy, and creamy, but bitter. Very bitter. The second time, we used U-Pick, the same brand as today, but they weren't bitter on the taste test. First, we got the big billowy curds we expected, but then, as it continued to cook, some of the protein seemed to line up, making these stringy and stretchy textures. The third time, using organic seeds from Minari, we got a similar effect. Very unusual to get this texture from plant-based proteins as we've tried on the channel so far. The fourth time, it was a combination of leftover seeds from both the Yupic and Inari packages. The milk was left to rest, and it split into watery and creamy layers. I cooked them separately, and the watery layer yielded nothing. The creamy layer made these billowy creamy curds, but we didn't get a lot of stretch. Black sesame, which was not as bitter as the first no-name brand, but probably on par with today's batch, didn't yield a lot of stretchy stuff either. This time, as you saw earlier, I'm using Yupic seeds again, but this batch, not the same as before, they're more bitter. And the curds this time, well, they're self-coagulating, fluffy, a little bit like egg whites looking, clumping together, but not stretchy. Not a lot of that anyways. So with these 5 experiences under our belt, I wonder if whatever compound makes sesame bitter actually inhibits the stretch factor. Or is it unrelated? More testing is required, so subscribe if you haven't already, because eventually we're going to figure it out together. But for now, it's time for another taste test. It's interesting. It wants to connect to more. So there are stretchy bits, but if I tried to knead it, would it turn into anything? Doesn't seem like it. Seems like it's just getting like firmer and stiffer under here. Right, as you knead it, you're pressing out the whey. So it's getting firmer. But I'm kind of breaking the curd as I do this. Ooh, the texture's still soft. It looks like it's getting tough, but it's just very creamy and soft. Just like previous. But this time I'm going to let it cool. It's a bit of a chilly day. Put this outside, let it cool. I let this pot of sesame curds and whey cool down naturally, as there's no snow to do the job this time, down to a probiotic-friendly temperature of under 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm using the same probiotics I've been using for the whole series, keeping that as consistent as possible, but adding 3 capsules for at least 45 billion colony-forming units of an array of lactobacillus bacteria. This time, I'm incubating in my oven with just the oven light on and manually switching it to maintain a temperature of between 35 and 40 degrees Celsius, or 98 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, about body temperature. But 24 hours later, it just wasn't sour at all, so I actually gave this batch 2 more days for a total of 67 hours incubation. So technically, if soaking day was day 0, now on March 27th, it's day 4 of our aged white sesame cheese project. It has a much lower tang, which can be explained by the next to 0 sugar and starch content in sesame. Oh, there's the sourness. Basically tastes like the fresh curd. It's very creamy, and then there's the 2 different textures, right? Very creamy and then a little bit chewier and meatier. It's a little more tangy than cottage cheese, which in my opinion doesn't taste tangy at all. But it does have a little bit more of like a musky, cheesy undertone to it. Anyways, I'm gonna press it. Clearly, I need bigger bowls for these bigger projects. The whey is about to overflow, so I'm going to transfer some out. And once again, we use my favorite tofu press, linked in the description if you want one for yourself. Hopefully, all the curds fit. Last time we made black sesame cheese, it was so good, but it was such a thin block that I made sure to use more seeds to start with this time. I think it might have made the perfect amount. Like a glove. There's a spring inside the lid that's actively pressing down on top of the curds, and the whey is releasing. Now that I've poured some off, there's more room so I can twist this knob and the spring moves down so the block can express even more sesame whey. Finally, I'll clean up a bit and then this can get labeled, and as usual, I'll keep it pressing in the fridge to get even firmer. Meanwhile, the bacterial activity will continue but more slowly because of the cooler temperature. My friends, it's time to unbox! It's actually day 6, only because I wasn't able to film yesterday, but I'm sure all will be well. First, the whey taste test.
Bitter and oily, so not a pleasant experience. However, it is distinctly sesame.
Now for the moment of truth.
Soft. I can feel that it's dense, but it's soft. Ooh, that feels delicate.
We have a crack down the middle, but otherwise it looks great. Comparable to the fresh peanut cheese from the first episode of Will It Cheese.
I get a little taste test off the edge, I think. Nice creamy texture. Bitter hits first. It's creamy, but it's not smooth all the way through. There's a bit of texture variation in there. Let's add a little salt. Just have some kosher salt. It's good. Tastes like sesame. Tastes a little cheesy. Dense, smooth, but not uniform. Actually pretty tasty. Let's weigh this. 399. Let's pretend like 4 grams is paper. 8 grams.
I actually meant to increase the ratio of salt this time, but misremembered the last ratio, so it's just like 2% again. Whoops.
That doesn't look like a lot, does it? However, past experience tells me it's enough. Don't worry.
As I'm sprinkling this on, I also didn't remember that last time I had ground down the salt so it was much finer. You'll see the consequence of this after we put it in the dehydrator at 98 degrees Fahrenheit, a very cozy temperature for the lactobacteria to age, dry, and firm up even more. After 24 hours, it's taken on a beautiful tan color, almost the original color of the sesame. And you can see some of that chunky salt didn't get absorbed. It's still, well, chunky. Some partially dissolved and diffused, as you can see in the white patches. Let's flip. It's somewhat sticking to the mat, but not too bad. You guys, it smells really nice. I want to give it a taste so bad, but I feel a greater need to let it age even more. Back in.
Smells like sesame, but also kind of hammy. Especially when the fan is going and it's like the scent is wafting out of here. It smells like a meat shop, like a deli. All right, back in.
It's been 3 days in the dehydrator, about 72 hours.
Ooh, soft, bouncy. Warm to the touch. Oily. And there's still like whole pieces of kosher salt. I probably should have ground that down before using. Lesson learned. Smells like ham.
Easy to cut. Just a little residue on the knife. The interior is looking like smoked tofu, and it smells kind of like it too. Or ham. Why is it giving Black Forest? I'm so confused.
It does smell like sesame, but it also gives ham. This is pretty soft. Softer than the black sesame. Let's slice a taster.
Creamy, lightly nutty, and definitely has a cheesy quality. It's not completely smooth texturally, there is some variation. I'm really noticing a cheddary aftertaste and that Black Forest aroma, which is so intriguing. It's actually so good. Salty enough, but not too salty. 294 grams. So let's just pretend it was 300. That would include the taster. You guys, I would love to stop here, but I'm too curious. how this might change after a period of cold fermentation. Aren't you? I'm running out of containers, my friends, so these pieces are going to go in this stainless steel container on some parchment, with a lid that's not quite airtight, into the fridge for as long as we can until I edit the footage up to this point.
Finally, hello friends and not yet friends. Today is the day. It's April 11th, 10 days later. Upon first sniff, it's really giving ham and sesame type aroma. Or like maybe a deli turkey or something like that. The outside is moist, or oily. And I really do not like the little speckles. The salt has dissolved and sunk into the cheese, leaving spaces. And I really hate the look of that. Other than that though, it is kind of soft is not the right word. It's firm, but at the same time a little bit mushy. But let's get into it. Oh, remember this edge was salted, so I'm not going to taste this. Instead, get in farther. Sticks a little bit crumbly. The texture is thick, dense, a little bit powdery, a little bit on the choky side. Not a lot, but a little bit. It's creamy, but it doesn't quite melt in the mouth. It's more like crumbly. It's a little bit of chew at the end. Salt level is perfect. It no longer really tastes like sesame. Like, you can smell the aroma of sesame, but it's kind of a nondescript, nutty, and savory. The texture is not meaty at all. Oh, I take that back. There is a little bit of texture variation, like the meaty thread. I think reflecting what we saw in the original curds and whey, there's not a lot of that though. Only very occasionally I'm getting that tiny thread of the very meaty, chewy texture, which is actually pretty good. It has that cheesy background, but has it developed very much in the 10 days of cold fermentation? Not a lot. I feel it's a bit firmer, but that could be just because it's been chilled, and maybe the flavor saltier to the tongue. I guess because the outside salt has finally made its way all the way in. Yep, there's a little bit of that meaty part again. I actually like that variation. The difference between this one and the black sesame is actually quite a bit. The black sesame is more obviously black sesame, earthy, nutty, like slightly, I don't know, slightly bitter undertone. I mean, I wouldn't even call it bitter, but this one doesn't have it at all. It really isn't bitter at all. It's just savory. It's really good. So, is it cheese board worthy? I would say so. I think the flavor profile is in the family of the Swiss cheeses, the like Emmental, Gruyere, maybe on the mild side, medium to mild side, where it's nutty and earthy and sweet in a way, savory. It's mouth-wateringly good. You have to try this. Now, I really should have weighed this beforehand, but I didn't, so I'll do it now. And then the slice. So that was 269. So let's say this was 7, and the taster slice I took was probably double this. So let's add 14 to the total. Let's just say 280 grams.
Is it really worth it? I bought the kilo of seeds for $12.99. Let's say the probiotics tack on $3, and this is a $16 batch of white sesame cheese, or $5.71 per 100 grams. Very comparable to the imported Swiss cheeses at my local grocery store. And since the flavor is kinda in that family, if you've ever liked those types of cheeses, even more, you've got to try this one. Thank you so much to everyone who requested this video, and even more because you watched it to the end. It really helps this video reach more people, and makes the time investment worth it for me too. Now, I don't think I'll age this longer. Instead, I'll be using it in recipes coming up, so please let me know your suggestions or requests. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already. As for me, it's high time I try another type of seed for cheese. Bye for now.